decided I want to talk about ALZARA Radiant Echoes. As you can see here, I backed this project, so I'm not talking out of my ass. I had money put into this, so I'm disappointed with what happened, but we'll get more into that. So, this is a project that got a lot of buzz by Studio Camelia, which being a turn-based RPG, 3D environment with emphasis on element, but also party member swapping, as you'll see is part of the gifts on this one entire page. But this project got a lot of buzz. He even had freaking collaborations from big people like Motoi Sakuraba, who, granted, that's where I see all over the place. He loves getting all the projects. Good for him. And Yoshiro Ambe, and regardless for work such as Trazamana Genshin Impact, the character designer. So it's getting a lot of buzz, many languages, like back from the front, immediately be a Steam and console port from the get-go, not as a stretch goal or anything. In fact, let me go back to the stretch goals. It's a promise voice acting, Sakuraba, battle management, in-game codex, former NPCs by Yoshiro Ambe, skill tree, Japanese voice acting, more music Sakuraba, new game plus, studio soundtrack recording. So they got a lot of stuff pretty much hyped up. You can see like the original goal was like 100k, and basically by the end I believe they got over 300k or so. I'll find a number. Yeah, no, almost that amount. So it was a huge success and got a lot of buzz, especially from social media sphere. See that gifts of the concepts they had, especially for the comic concept. Number one, specifically, kept getting tossed around. Where the F was it? Dang it, I can't find it. But side the point, had a lot of buzz. And you mentioned right here Kickstarter, playing their whole entire goal. About more funding, right to call JRPGs, appreciate new experiences, want to support this adventure. But here starts to come with some of the issues, especially in their wording. Let me go find that. Where is it? There we go. That's not launch Kickstarter took the demand for ALZARA Radiant Echoes and our commitment to transparency. Those words will bite them in the ass. And despite the game's release being September 2026, once again, they already had an estimate, we invite you to join us early, become a cherished part of the ALZARA Radiant Echoes community, and witness the evolution of our game. So, from here, you can see everything about what they're doing, trying to get more people eyes, everything, get JRPG fans involved. They already had a slated estimate of release and everything, and they want transparency. So this is where it starts to also kind of bite them in the ass. But also, on the risk section, let's mention, we're sending a number of trusted studios and partners, fortifies our ability to deliver on our promises, show us quality for our project. Which once again, got bite them in the ass. Because the most recent update we got, as of June 17, 2025, is that the company was shutting down. As of shutting down, all their assets were being liquidated, with them essentially saying, I'll let the text scroll here so you can read it for yourself, being that essentially Kickstarter was used to fund a demo to pitch to publishers to get the game fully greenlit. Which many companies do actually have as a practice, like Bloodstained Ritual of Night from the get-go said, hey, this is money for the pitch, everything. Same thing for Arm Fantasia and Penny Blood, where they're still trying to find a publisher, but still trying to keep on keeping on. But here they mentioned how the demo they were working on was used to pitch for companies at trade shows, everything, but they couldn't attract a studio to want to publish their project. So they mentioned as of about April, let's see the exact date, it was like April 28th, it was declared that the studio will be liquidating all its assets and everything, so they can't even release what they currently have. Although they claim that the game is still on an indefinite pause, even if, because there's still a chance third party might show up, even though they're liquidating all their assets and everything. So this is where this complaint happened. Note when I showed the description, everything, none of that highlighted they were making a demo or anything. It highlighted an estimated release date and how they were going to pretty much see people get to evolution, which technically is true, but they weren't transparent in that fact, even if it's a common practice for many Kickstarter games. So you see their comments, there are people kind of understanding, other people who are pissed because despite claiming to be transparent, they weren't exactly transparent with what they were doing. Even what they were doing was kind of more, I want to say, what I've seen is standard practice of doing that, but you didn't exactly mention that to people. You didn't mention it's just for a demo to pitch to people. So people are focusing on the freezing and everything. So people start calling it a scam, bringing refunds, which you can't because all the money's gone. They tried everything. You'll see several comments throughout here that just say has been removed or is under moderation from Kickstarter. So I assume they must have said some really angry things in those comments. So it's also the fact that even before this update, the last one we had before this was in February. Like, we went several months with silence before then actually having anything. But you can see how they've mentioned upgrades and improvements that they were trying to do. So they're still trying to work on the game and everything. But then several months later, and bam. Like I said, the liquidation, the announcement happened in April. Those were their words. So why did they wait until freaking June to inform everyone of what happened? Like, they waited so long for this and everything. So that's also their thing that also rubbed people the wrong way. The fact that you knew in April that liquidation was gonna happen, why'd you wait till June to actually say anything? Now I've seen some people try to assume the absolute worst in what's going on, and you know, I can't exactly fully blame them or anything, but as I said, it seems like the more issue of they weren't transparent in what they were doing. Like, they should have been more upfront and people wouldn't be upset. It's gonna be a case of the information and then as a side of not necessarily the project failed. Like, if a project fails, but there are many projects that fail all the time. But here, they didn't explicitly mention what they were trying to do. Even in their phrasing, it made it seem as if this would be a done deal with probably at least an early estimate, as many Kickstarter projects generally delay their final release due to being really overzealous with it. But so many people just focusing on the phrasing and wording and going, some things just don't really add up. So to file for bankruptcy a month after they close the late pledges. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, right after closing late pledges, you immediately file for bankruptcy, meaning you had to have known that things were not going well, which is why people are assuming the worst, assuming this was fraud and everything, or some sort of scam. Another comment that remove a Kickstarter. Some people are just, Jesus, more string of delete. Jesus, one dude's all over the place expressing their, oh my god, we're still going. But yeah, a lot of people were definitely upset about this, especially since it closed after 1 year. Well, like I said, Penny Blood and Arm Fantasia still a publisher, but they are still going. With Penny Blood being in a worse state due to a freaking lawsuit going on. I mentioned that in a video I made about Kickstarters and everything. But the fact that they're like a year or so is just done. But yeah, a lot of people also mentioned, rightfully, Kickstarter is not a promise, an investment, when investments sometimes do fail, which is true. Although trying to get back as our children adults, you kind of up your own ass. But yeah, this is kind of freaking a thing where, yes, nothing's guaranteed, and Kickstarter tells you that when you back something. Like, when something is fully backed, they tell you there's not a promise, it's not a store, there's basically an investment and everything. And there are some people who don't pay attention to that. Everything doesn't matter. We invest in a full game on a demo, the scam you can claim, which technically is not wrong because they didn't mention they're making a demo in the project, so they're frustrated. Let's go over to see the Twitter buzz and everything. And I know that the official Twitter account completely locked replies to their announcement, what was going on. On Twitter, you can see the announcement and mention an update, everything, just linked to it. But immediately, no one can reply, so we gotta see the quote retweets and how well that went. Tons of soulless assholes making big promises, pitching money away, leaving you all in the bag. They took money, sorry about that. But yeah, you can see it go over. They got 200,000 looking for a publisher, sponsored successfully, decided to close the studio. 1 year. Like I said, we don't know exactly how they tried everything, considering they kept making new demo builds and kept trying to showcase it to publishers at convention, everything. Which, like I said, is normal for other companies, but you have to tell people what you're doing. Some people have missed our audience. Also, one comment I saw earlier, that's why I got, it's a scam, it's not a web store, investment, so we're live when they order for the upgrade, yeah, it's kind of one-time phrasing, like, yes, I get it, investment, everything, but technically not guaranteed. The reason about to trade and shut down the studio, so you can't get any refunds. Man, with a scam, and to give him a wish list. Rest goes on info so promising. Trust you to pitch fall through. First being a promise project. Occasional classics are guaranteed to come to fruition in a successful campaign, which is true. Nothing's guaranteed to happen, even if the campaign is very successful. But not so many people focusing on the money raised. They raise triple the amount and everything. And once again, the fact that the comments on this are closed also make them look bad, even if not inherently a bad thing to do. So it's like I understand frustration on both sides, especially as someone who backed the game for. Let me see, what was the amount I even backed it for? I'm gonna need that later. But you get the whole entire idea. What the absolute F? Because the comment, people would feel about this, or possibly because of the issue. Yeah, because Kickstarter doesn't really have a refund policy, period. Because it's due 2 months of their campaign ending. And that's technically true. It's right after late pledges ended. And that's right after they stopped getting money is when they did that. Why, once again, if what they're doing is absolutely legit, what they fully planned, it does not look good at all that it happened immediately after that. Because once again, you had to have known freaking what was going on. You have to have freaking known that by freaking April, and you still kept it going. Some people say they dodged a bullet. Project I missed using Kickstarter after publisher. Doesn't matter for me personally. But it's true. You got a lot to be that about that, but this doesn't seem to have freaking mentioned that. So, but yeah, it's also like a big risk, one entire thing. I have projects that burn, and I'm still pissed about, like freaking our protagonist. I'm still mad about that. But outside of that point, I'm in the Kickstarter video I made. Some people think they ran off with the money, which I'm not sure they say they ran off with the money. If there were still trade conventions and updating the game constantly, so try to back to all the updates. For the publisher, best use and try hard enough. Looking for the company, more money for your scam. No refunds, get audacity to defend yourself. This is by saying no Kickstarters come to fruition. I said the amount saying JRPG needs to, that doesn't mean it needs to, but it's true that no Kickstarters do come to fruition despite how much money is raised. Raise money for Kickstarter, go under, start a reference with the general public, losing faith in crowdfunding. But that's always a risk that you have to know everything. It's why, again, many people don't trust crowdfunding in the slightest, but that's why I made a Kickstarter video to highlight ones I've personally backed. The product then disappeared, and there's a word for that. Keep in mind, as devs like Toby Farr most likely will continue making Deltarune. Was able to start a team and producer, would end up taking longer. So your scam people period, helps someone pursue legal action. The fuck does that have to do with anything? You have all right to be mad at you. You failed with 3 times your initial goal. That is true. You're rightfully able to be upset. Raise 3 times the amount required money for a Kickstarter goal. The Crowdfunding publisher decided to close the studio. When it's just gone, it's going to do a lot of damage for trusted people having Kickstarters, which is true. Very fair, very, very fair. Yup, me too. Me money. What? What? The fuck? Rather than donate to projects in their sites or try publisher support. This may end well, but they didn't mention that, so some people could even do that, but I won't say it does always end well. Kind of several projects that that generally ends well. Like I said, the project got burned on or in a minority than compared to one successful. Kind of surprised Square Enix didn't pick interest in here. I don't know why they would, honestly. I was reminded that there's a bunch of like games. Kickstarter fundings are 40, 60 to the success, like that. When the access games don't know when people still fall for it, it's got potential, but not luck. That is true, not luck. Granted back this now, they seem solid for the start. Well, sorry, but got 3 times your goal, but no finished product. Like, okay, refund your money, so feels proper on this in the future, huh? Let's follow me, so rather than pitch a plucky in, the promise to deliver me the money for your project, also that large amount can be used in the most corporate way ever. As a pitch investment, backers are not investors, they're early customers. No, they technically are investors. Granted, not investors in the way of we get part of profit, everything, but we technically are freaking investors, which that's how Kickstarter treats itself, which I just think it'd be upset about that. But freaking technically, that's how Kickstarter does treat itself and everything. Let's go back to the updates. Even before that, from February. Last one was in December. Let's see, December. And then in more detail, main characters, animations. Life at the studio, because of the Jam Studio, December at the end of the year. What next? October. But yeah, I see they kept trying to do updates for the game, for the thing. Trying to highlight progress, although looking back on it, not sure how much progress is really being highlighted in hindsight. But is after the project was already done. Team seminar. Pledge manager. Oh, but still for a pledge manager. Alright. Goal review. That's from June. But yeah, this was just a whole entire thing where people were mad or afraid mad. I'm not sure if I'm necessarily mad or maybe I'm just 200% apathetic, and maybe just apathetic actually, nothing about it. Despite the money loss, I'm just purely apathetic. But the fact that they didn't exactly mention this was for a freaking demo build to get publisher attention. It just says, be on more funny, I call JRPGs, appreciate the experiences, want support the venture. But the fact that they mentioned an estimated release of the game's release being slated, despite the game's release being slated for 2026, that's the word right there. Like, you make it seem as if it was a done deal and everything. Even mention all the contributing people that you had for this project in order to help make it reality. And the risk challenges are there. We try to highlight, we are still a network trusted studios and partners with our ability to deliver our promises and ensure the optimal quality for our project. But then after a year, basically just give up and liquidate the entire company. It does not look good. And just still trying to claim that, well, there's still a small chance a publisher could show up, so the chances of this project continuing are not zero. Yeah, but when apparently you bring your audience, you have to ask the question, who will even still be remaining afterwards? The answer, probably new people will show up and be interested. The project gets rebuilt and everything. But yeah, even people outside of here about to think about now, damn, Crystar games is not worth the risk anymore. Fuck you, that's all they wrote. So everyone's devastated. It took more than what they asked for, still shutting down. Refunds offering no game, could even release the demo they have, some other people who funded this project. Yep. Why do people keep mentioning that shit as if that fucking matters? Go fucking touch grass! The Kickstarter is crazy. Which, I understand in the first stage, I understand, yeah. It can be done. Can't just steal people's money and everything. Should get enough money to... What the fuck? Oh, that is the money in RAM. It's pointing to here, so I was back in this project. I want to see it come to fruition, but now I feel ripped off. Oh, we got this one. Surprise not to find funding. What are writing? What the f... Time to go back! Government development can cover when it's secure. I have to ministry as we know the Liquidated space currently going through crisis. Been forced to close down the Liquidity, and over 20,000 workers have lost their jobs. Versus now opening market. Versus now operating market. We're taking risks as discouraged, and you can forward wait before committing the project in order to reduce risk. Which once again, again, you tried to explain that the whole entire thing of publishers not wanting to fund certain things, not taking risk and all that, but we also have too many examples where publishers do take risks. We're getting a freaking new Samurai Pizza Cats game, for crying out loud, and all that. So the Kickstarter reduced the perceived risk for some partners and reassured the public's probability, campaign to success, given the most back gaming projects. Kickstarter remember for its backers, in pledge, thank you again for support, user success, swap a new demo game, incorporating latest advances, so attending various events, everything to meet with potential partners, front of our world, a dev discussion, earlier this year, unfortunately, none of them resulted in a contract, despite being playable demo, so your team, half of the funding secured, half of the funding secured, in the Kickstarter campaign, you spent no effort. This is a chance to continue, different pause. So this is for demo presented to our partners. Okay, this program, so this demo can be shared publicly. For couple of reasons, the company's liquidation prevents us from releasing any game content. Please keep in mind that your snippets when working game progress. Your elements, pre-production demo. It is the same video as before. Might be, I don't know, uploaded recently. Probably include excerpts from this in the video. Thank you for taking my reading question. Take the time to answer them as best we can. I have seen you answer nothing. No, F you mean. What do you imagine your disappointment for reading this? Sure, sorry, we would like to tell us the project of the day. We're deeply invested in ALZARA characters who have loved more and more from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you. And the translation. But yeah, I've seen them nowhere try to further explain. In fact, let me go to the Twitter account and see if there are any replies they've done or anything to people. Nope. The answer is no. And I've seen you nowhere in the responses anywhere. I've seen you talk to no one. I don't know what you're talking about. There are no responses. No one has had anything. In fact, you literally silenced all replies to your tweet. So, nope, comments turned off. Nope. There's nothing. There's no responses to questions. There is nothing. Yeah, so that's how things fall apart. It's disappointing. Don't want to say it's a scale like many other people are saying, but also can't say the idea isn't exactly there or anything, considering the fact that they freaking how suspiciously they closed the late pledges and then going, oh, company's being liquidated and we didn't tell you for like also 2 months as well. So that another thing, late pledges being done. Man, FAQ everything, maybe it doesn't matter. Well, it's still kind of Kickstater. I still mentioned a demo here. Company goes beyond more funding. Great college JRPG enthusiasts, how many people it's worth. Show the demand for community transparency, but these release being slated to 2026. No, it's the same thing they put there. But you're not mentioning demo or anything. So nothing. What's the creative button? Last login June 22nd. So that's like yesterday's time of recording. Count made 16 back. I said backed a lot of. They backed a lot of projects themselves. So I don't want to say for a scam because clearly they've also believed and helped fund a bunch of things that freaking got funded and worked out. Even busted right there. So as I said, I don't want to say that they're specifically scammers or had that from the get-go, but it just doesn't look good because of things coming together and being like, it makes them look bad and everything. So that's all I wanted to give about it. As someone who did back the project and everything, like I don't even know. I'm looking at, you know what? Give me that face. I'm gonna give the. Oh no, that's a smile. Come on, smiley face. No, that's a neutral face. No, I'm not doing. Fuck it, I can't. Oh well. Freaking. That's all I gotta say about it. It is heavily disappointing what happened with this project, and seemed promising, looked cool, but not everything comes to fruition. But some of the things start to form trends. That's why I can't discount it. I can't discount how people were feeling about it. So trends start forming and some of the way they were acting. So that's all I gotta say about the project, this video. Alrighty then. Good day. I can't really say go play games because the game's not coming out. So go off and watch something you like. Alrighty then, good day.